All right. I think we're live here. Welcome to the Card Diary by Hobby S. Thompson. I am your host, Denny Cards. And this is a continuation of the Meet the Breaker series. Today we have a very special guest. We have Sarah from Instagram under Mrs. Squirts underscore cards.
Mhm.
And she hails from Northwest Montana. Right before
Yep.
pressing record, she told me 60 miles from Canada. And that's Sarah with an H, right?
Yes, with an H. That's the only
Awesome.
way.
That's the only way. All the other ways, they're not the real ways to do it.
Correct.
So Sarah, I didn't tell you this story before you press record. I wanted to get your live reaction.
Oh,
Um, the way we first interacted online, because we met at national and all that, is I went back because something really stuck with me. It was the way that you saw my humanity as a parent in the hobby. I kid you not, this is so coincidental. Exactly a year ago. So, by the way,
mm,
we're recording this on February 21st, 2024. We've been talking about having you on for a while, and thank you so much for being on the
of
podcast.
course.
February 21st, 2023, so exactly a year ago, I made a post on Instagram with a picture of a positive COVID test. And it wasn't mine, but it was one of my kids. But I
Mm.
eventually I did get COVID because that's so hard to avoid. But my
Right.
my wife was traveling overseas for work, so I was single parenting. I was struggling. I was like, should I post this? Should I not? But part of the way I process things now is just posting and just just putting it out there. So
Right.
I kind of talked about it. I won't read my caption and all that, but your response, can I read your response? I mean, do you
Of
remember the
course.
message and all that?
I have a brief detail. I don't know exactly like what post you're talking about, but
Hmm.
man, a year it's been a crazy year for us. So, um, don't take any hard feelings if I don't exactly remember. But I have an
No,
idea of what
no,
I said.
no hard feelings at all. I had no clue it was exactly a year. Like I remember, I was like, I think I got COVID like a year ago, but I can't believe the coincidence of this being the exact same day, February 21st. I
Mm,
won't read the whole thing, but you wrote a very nice message to me. You said, first off, please know that you're killing it as a single parent right now. Use whatever form or platform you want to express how you feel. I think people forget that we're humans and we have feelings too. It is better to let it out than hold it in. You're doing great. Keep your chin up. Push through to the next obstacle with the power of your friends, but also take some time to rest and relax. Your mental health is important, and so is your physical health. So make
mm,
sure you take time to recharge. It's easy to get burnt out. um, don't allow any negative energy affect who you are as a person. Focus on what you can control and not what you can't. You know
right.
what? At this point, I think I'm going to read the whole thing. I was like, I'm going to paraphrase, but it's just so good. It's such a great message. And I needed this so much at that time. Trust me, I fall victim to my own advice a lot, but I think once you can find a balance, you'll feel more calm. And then I don't know if it's okay for me to talk about, but you mentioned how your daughter, she was like not doing, like she wasn't feeling well, and that there is
Right.
medication, and so you have kids too.
Yep.
And you say that the stress that it carries, I get that too, but you got this, thinking of you and your family.
Yep.
End comment. That stuck with me so much,
Mm,
and pretty sure I got very like teary-eyed or emotional when I saw that, because it was just such a, and I said thank you so much, and we kind of conversed, but
right.
we kind of like followed each other for a little bit at that time, and I eventually did get into one of your breaks, but I didn't. You knew me. We never met in person. You didn't know me from Adam, and yet here you were, just giving me so much encouragement when I felt like I needed it. So thank you so much
You're welcome. I think
for
this
doing that.
hobby is very dark at times,
Hmm.
and I think that we forget. And people forget that there's people behind the cameras. There's people who have lives behind the cameras. And I think that just because maybe you can't see them or you're not with them every day, you don't know their struggles. But
Hmm.
I think a lot of breakers take a lot of abuse. And it's not just breakers, it's a lot of people in the hobby. But I
Hmm.
think as breakers, we take a lot of abuse. Like, I know that my DMs are loaded with, when is this going to ship, when is that going to ship, and I know I've always had a really good turnaround time, and it's just life happens.
Hmm.
And if you can't see the humanity and you can't see that people are humans, then you've really got in a problem. It's more of a problem at that point. And I'm very transparent. And so and that's all heartfelt. Everything that I wrote in that was completely from the heart. It wasn't just people do things for views and for attention. It's just that's just who I am. It's like I care for the people in this hobby, and I've gotten burned a lot.
Mm.
Um, but I think that if we can remember that there's humans behind every account, for the most part, there might be some trolls, but for the most part, we're human, and I think that we forget that a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's just social media in general and
Yep,
keyboard warriors and the trolls, and hopefully no one would say certain things they say online to someone in their face. Otherwise, I mean, I guess that could also happen.
that's their
Um,
character. Yeah.
exactly. So, I would love to kind of get to know what got you to the point where you are today with breaking, like, your relationship with the hobby and all that. But before I do, I did want to say, so 5 months after that, in July of 2023, we met in person at the National. You did do some
Hmm.
breaking at the Breakers Pavilion, if I recall.
Yeah.
You gave me a sticker. I did not have any. I still don't have any, which is wild. But I still have that sticker. I got, again, like, and one final thing I want to say is, like, during this past holiday season, this past holiday time, I received a holiday card from you, and it said thank you, and then here's a coupon for $20 off a future break. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh my goodness, this is like above and beyond customer service. Like, I it was incredible. So thank you for doing that.
Of course. I mean, I think that's my whole thing is that who I am is I give back. I don't expect a lot in this hobby, just your respect and just your friendship and stuff.
Mhm.
So holiday seasons, I always send out a Christmas card or holiday card to everybody who joined into breaks with us during that year.
Mhm.
So it's I think at this point we've got about 1,000 that I send out every year, and I do hand sign every single one of them.
Yep. Mhm.
And I make E do it too. He takes a little bit longer,
Mhm.
but his little scribble. But yes, so we do hand sign them and then obviously send them out to you. So
For
it
those who
does
are
mean a lot.
unaware, E is who again?
The husband.
Okay. You say it with such a sigh.
No,
So he's the shipping and handling department of things?
no, he's
No.
the top loading and sleeving during breaks.
Oh, yeah, I
I
mean, the help, right, the back end, the not the on-camera personality, or
he's getting a little bit more,
Mhm.
but that's just not who he is, and I would never force him to be that way.
Mhm.
But people do know who he is at the national.
Mhm.
And that's I wouldn't be here without him, so
Mm.
without his support and without his encouragement. So
Yeah.
I can't just say he's just a helper. He is my best friend, and we
Aw.
bicker a lot, and I make snide comments about him, and he does the same to me. So it's just kind of it's who we are, and it's kind of the platform that we built.
That's awesome, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think in my post, I wrote that my wife is my best friend, and that continues to be the case, and same, like, just all the support, just it's so integral. Yes, and she
Hmm.
won't be on camera, and she wants me to very much kind of uh protect, like, not have her and the kids on camera, but that definitely
Hmm.
doesn't preclude me from putting my pets on camera and
Right.
things like that. But no, that's so wonderful. And again, I guess before we get to the breaking, your Instagram bio, or like, you're generally known as the first breaker, the first woman
Female
breaker, is
breaker.
that right?
Hmm.
Okay,
The
so I guess
OG.
the OG. So let's get to that. Let's get to the background, let's get to the history, and then to how you got into breaking, please.
Okay. Well, for me, um, I've been collecting my whole life. That's I think everybody starts with that. Oh, I've been collecting my whole life. I'd be a billionaire right now if I kept all my Pokemon in good shape or in general. But I collect everything. May it be those Pogs. It was Pokemon. It was Pogs. It was sports cards. Um, it's kind of just like whenever I had an extra dollar or two, you get a pack. Nowadays you can't do that, but that's how it was back then, and I have always loved it. And um I kind of collected on my own term. I wasn't on social media. And actually the funny thing is I never had an Instagram account until I started breaking. And so didn't even know how to use Instagram because I just wasn't on it. And that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And there was nobody else that was a female breaker that was pushing product as much as I was at that time. And I mean, and I'm not talking about LCSs that have breakers, because that's a whole different, I feel like that's a whole nother avenue, because I'm not gonna say they have to work hard too for what they have, and no shame on that game whatsoever. But I think as somebody who doesn't have an LCS attached to them, it's a lot harder to come up in this hobby as a breaker. You have to really prove yourself. And so I did that, and I really had to prove myself as being a female in the hobby. Nobody trusted me because I was a female. As stupid and as cliche as that sounds, um, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't offend me. It just makes me work harder. And I did that. It's exactly what I did, and I've been grinding ever since. I haven't. This isn't my only. This isn't really a source of income. This is just something I do because I enjoy the hobby. This is something I do um, to provide something for somebody else. And I I don't do it to make $1 million. I don't do it to make thousands of dollars. I do it because it's something that I enjoy. Um, and I think that's where we kind of people have started losing the grasp of what this hobby is. And I've always stayed true to myself that I will not do something I don't want to do. I'm not going to try to be bigger than I am. Um, I just want to be me. And if being bigger means I have to change me, then I don't want to.
Hmm.
Um, and so I've just been true to myself. And I have people respect me for that. I'm, like I said before, I'm very transparent. If something's going on in my life and I can't get to what needs to be done ASAP, then
Hmm.
that's what happens. I will let you know. Um, but my family will come first.
Hmm.
Before anything and everything, this hobby is my family, but my physical family will come first. And if that means that your cards are delayed a few days for shipping because I'm dealing with my father-in-law's stroke, or I'm dealing with family issues,
Hmm.
then I would hope as a human you would understand that as well. And I think that's just who I am. I just keep building it. I'm an entrepreneur in trade. I Between my husband and I, we have 5 other companies that we run and operate ourselves. So this isn't, like I said, this isn't just the only thing I do. I enjoy this. This is my baby, if you want to call it. But um I I grew from day one on my own. I didn't have the help or um and by I say my own, because I don't say that like as in all my followers didn't help bring people to me, because they totally did, and I wouldn't be here without them. But I built it with my own money. I built it with my own time. I built it with my own transparency. I It's E and I. We're not going to give this to anybody else. This is just us. And if that means I'm working until 5 o'clock in the morning, then that's what it is.
Hmm. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. So, you know, on that comments about growing up, I guess one thing I wanted to ask was, picturing you collecting the Pogs and the Pokemon and sports cards, did you grow up in Montana? And then,
No.
okay, where did you grow up?
I was basically born and raised in Portland, Oregon. So we've only
Okay.
been in Montana for a little bit, well, almost 3 years.
Oh, so like
Um,
COVID.
yeah, we moved during COVID.
Okay.
Um, but we just had to get out of Portland. And so we moved here because his dad has multiple generations here of his
Mm.
side. So
Hmm.
we went somewhere where there was family.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Man, I've never been in that area. The closest I can even say that I have any, I feel like I try to connect with people with, what connections we do have. I remember growing up in New York City. There was this one restaurant called Jackson Hole, but I know Jackson Hole is in Wyoming, right?
Wyoming.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but they had like the best burgers. If anyone remembers this, this is like in the '90s in the Upper East Side in New York City. Jackson Hole. Oh my gosh, like buffalo burgers. I'm like, I didn't even know you could eat a buffalo and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, there's tons here. I mean, I
Half
don't think there's anybody that lives here that doesn't have either half a cow or half a
a
buffalo in their freezer because we do. I mean, it's just how it is here. And well, if you ever want to come out, we do have a show in April. So if you want to come out,
Oh, wow.
you
So
should.
I wanted to talk about how, that growing up and building the breaker empire and all that, but I mean, let's talk about the card scene in Montana. Like where's the show? When is it? Like what like how are shows in that area?
Well, down in Missoula, there's a bigger show called Zootown. They have their own. They're an LCS down there. Great people. Strongly recommend them. Twice a year they do it. Uh, excuse me. Actually do it. We're kind of on the same schedule. So their show is a week before ours, and then they also do one in September.
Hmm.
Our show is April 20th
Hmm.
in Kalispell, south side of Kalispell at the Hilton Garden Inn. It's where we had it last time. But this time I have four signers,
Hmm.
and JSA will be there as well, authenticating anything you have, as well as um, just whatever you're getting signed can be authenticated on site. So
So I did not have this in my show notes. So please tell me more about the four signers. Like how many tables are there? I mean, how many people usually come to these shows?
yeah, so actually the last one was really busy. We're starting this. This is only my third show here.
Okay.
That I'm growing this as much as I can. But it's a process, obviously. You don't become a
Hmm.
national overnight. Um, and I think last time we had roughly 100 tables sold.
Oh, wow.
I've expanded it to 150 this time. Obviously, we have autograph signers, which will take their own tables for that.
Yeah.
But um, I've also partnered with Brain Injury Alliance of Montana, and I'm a sponsor with them. And so I've been working with them on the back burner, just kind of with their stuff. And they've connected me with a lot of UFC fighters,
Mm.
um, as well as boxers. So we actually in Great Falls, Todd Foster, who's a 1988 Olympian boxer,
Hmm.
will be there. It's only like 3 hours from us, which I didn't even know he was that close.
Okay.
So he'll be there. He's not signing. He actually, his injury caused him to be
Mm.
unable to sign. But I'll have
Pictures.
photos there of
Yeah.
his signature and his picture from his 1988 Olympics,
Wow.
and you can get that. And then photo ops.
Hmm.
All of them you can do autos, photo ops. The price is the same. It doesn't change. It's only $15.
Hmm.
But Matt Hughes, UFC fighter, will
Not
be
here.
there.
Okay.
Jens Pulver will be there as well.
Okay.
Also a UFC fighter. He just was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
Um, and then Alfie Alcaraz,
Okay.
who's also a UFC fighter.
Wow. Okay, so I gotta say, 1988 Olympics. That was definitely in Seoul, South Korea. I mean, I was like, I wasn't there at the
Mm,
time. I was like 6 years old in America, but that's so cool.
yep.
When I thought of signers, I did not think of boxers and UFC. But I think that's so awesome that you were able to get those folks. So you're into UFC and boxing then too, like
Well,
collectively.
actually, E used to cage fight, and he was a wrestler growing up. So
There you
I
go. All
mean, it's
right.
kind of in our blood to really enjoy it, and the portion of the proceeds from or sales of tickets are going to the Brain Injury Alliance of Montana, to help with research on TBIs
TBI.
and injuries in sports people, because I guess in Montana, we don't get any money, we don't get any federal assistance, and
Oh.
TBI is the second leading cause of, or brain injuries are the
Mhm.
second leading cause in Montana for deaths.
Oh my goodness. I
Hmm.
didn't. What is the first like everywhere else? I'm guessing heart disease or something like that, or.
I don't know what the first one is, but I just know that, and then like nationwide, it's up there as well. Um, a lot of states can get assistance, but a lot of other ones have to have these organizations or 501(c)s
Mm-hmm.
in order to get funding
Yeah.
for things, and it was really disheartening because I got the luxury of talking to every single one of our signers, um, and just hearing the fact that people that we look up to at one time in our life are struggling, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I'm using my platform that I have to further advance and bring in funding for them, and getting to meet these guys. And I actually am going to a bigger event in June. They're holding a huge banquet where I'll meet Drew Brees and Joe Namath and Jerry Rice and some other
Mm-hmm.
people, and get to just talk and like listen to their stories and stuff. So
Wow, I did not think we were going to be talking about this, but I'm so glad we are. If people wanted to check out the show, if they're in the Midwest area, or if they want to donate, like, I mean, what are some Instagram tag handles, websites that you could kind of share with us here?
So I just actually started because I kept on loading up my own, my Instagram card account with the show, and I was like, I just need to make a show Instagram. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I can barely keep up with mine,
I
let
know.
alone I'm like,
Trust
oh,
me.
let's do another one.
Yes.
So eventually it will have more. I'm still trying to. Yeah, this last couple weeks has been kind of a wash for us with Ethan's dad having a stroke last
Mm,
Monday.
so
Um, that's been our priority.
yes,
Taking care of
absolutely.
him, getting him settled, getting him to his doctor's appointments. So mentally I just haven't really been on the ball.
I'm so sorry.
Um he's doing okay. So it's just one of those things where you just got to keep chugging along. But I will start having that. For now it's just my own personal
Okay.
card Instagram. And then my website has the location to buy the Matt Hughes tickets, which I need to update to put in the other three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you want to be a vendor, that's always an option too. And you can just email me directly,
Okay.
and I can send all that information. But my flyer has it all, and that flyer is on my card account. So other than that, I don't really. I will start blasting it in the valley as well as Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and sending out to other card shops that I know that are going to support.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely put your full handle because it's like Mrs. MRS and then Squirts SQUIRTS underscore CARDS cards. So,
Correct.
well, that's fantastic. I wish you the best of luck with that. Sounds. I mean, I love seeing shows. That the main thing that really limits me is just having a young family myself and not being able to go to everything I want to. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
just the past 2 months, I mean, the start of 2024, we had what, Dallas, Culture Collision, Burbank,
Yeah.
Atlanta, California. And I'm just like, I just want to go to all of them. But I mean, it's
It's not
youth
feasible.
basketball. Yeah, it really isn't. I mean, I have youth basketball. I'm a coach for both of my son's teams, and not just coaching, just cheering them on. Like, it's just, I want them to feel supported. And it would be so hard for me to say, hey, not coming to this game because of a card show. So I think after
I
that
hear
it'll
you.
it'll kind of slow down because I mean, I kind of help with soccer. I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like a warm body, just saying like, hey, kick it harder, and then they try to, and then that's it. That's my extent of soccer coaching. So
Yeah,
that I don't feel too bad. I'm
that's
I'm
coming
actually
for
trying to.
us too.
Yeah, they're getting to the age
Soccer.
where it's getting harder, the competition gets harder, and, kids are starting to do more travel, where I'm kind of like, "Hey, do you really wanna play soccer?" Like, I'm trying to not convince them not to, but I'm just like, "Let's talk about our goals here," or like, they just I think for the most part, they just wanna be, with their friends, which is probably the
Right.
main reason to do youth sports, to try to get that feeling of camaraderie and team, so that, because it's not an individual sport, right? Like tennis or golf where you just kinda
Correct.
do things yourself. You have to play within the team. So I think the main thing I try to do is try to, give them a childhood that I kind of say sometimes I didn't have myself, but more of like just
That's
want to
what
give
we
them
do
a
too.
yeah, just want to give them a good childhood, right? So
Hmm.
oh my goodness, card show promoter. I should say meet the card show promoter series with Sarah. So you are also a breaker. I have just so many questions that came from Instagram, but I'm gonna have to try to limit them because we're already kind of coming up on the 30-minute mark. But I mean, so grown, the whole like, you told me that you grew up in Portland, Oregon, and that's where you're doing the Pogs and Pokemon and sports cards.
Hmm.
But growing to where you are now, like I guess one question we didn't really talk about is where do you break? Do you break in multiple channels? I know you break on Instagram because that's how I found you, and that's how I got into one of your breaks. But like, where do you break and what do you break?
So yeah, Instagram's only what it is right now. I know I've been saying I think for 2 years now that I was going to get on YouTube, and it's just every time I get ready to set it up and do it all, it's just something in our life has happened. So,
Hmm.
um, right now it's still just Instagram, and it's okay. I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
And we break literally everything. There's not. I don't think there's anything that we don't break.
Hmm.
Um, I prefer not to break some things, but some sports, but um, people like it, and so we do it, and I just make E do it.
What kind of sports are those?
Soccer.
You said it with
Mhm.
such, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
I've actually received some like Bob Ross cards from you, Bob Ross painting sets.
Mhm.
So you really do have a variety. I know when we were trying to set this up, you told me that, oh, I can't record a certain time because you were doing Formula One, right?
Yep.
So, but your main, would you say like a lot of breakers, the bread and butter kind of is like football
The
and
main ones.
baseball? Yeah,
Yep.
football,
Yep.
basketball. I got into a basketball break with you. I got the Wizards because I wanted to get my home team. Do you have people who buy in? So there's the breaking, right. A lot of a lot of the maligned perception of breakers is, oh, it's just they're facilitating the gambling aspect, and it's all about trying to positive ROI. And these people who get into breaks, they just want to pull the casino, the slot machine, and try to hit triple sevens. But I mean, the way you break, I mean, do you find that your buyers are just because when I bought in, I bought in as I want the Wizards because they're my local team. That's probably a very naive way to look at it, but I really thought like, hey, if I want a team or two that I want specifically, then
Yep.
that's a reason to break because I didn't want the other cards of other teams. So, I mean, do you find that your buyers are kind of like more collectors or slot machine pullers?
It's a mix. But I mean, I probably at least half of my followers are original followers. And so over the years, it's like I know their favorite teams. I know who they collect. So when they're like, when Joey B's big and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna take the Bengals," it's like, you're just trying to flip it, which is fine. I don't care. I don't care what you do. But it's just funny because it's just like sometimes I'm just like, I'll send them a DM like, "Oh, okay," like joking with them, just like I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, and I've had to tell people that I'm not accepting them anymore. Um,
Oh.
and I have absolutely no problem cutting people off if I feel like it's becoming an issue.
Mm,
And if that means that they leave me and go to somewhere else, that's fine. That's what I'm
wow.
talking about. The money has nothing to do with this. The
Mm,
card community will not survive if we one can't allow it so people can afford it. That's a big one. But also enjoying it and not just to go for those big cards.
mm-hmm,
Um, but at the same time, yeah, it's fun. It's fun trying to get those big cards for your customers.
mm-hmm,
But then when you don't get them, me personally, and I still to this day, I feel bad.
yeah.
Like, I feel genuinely bad that, shoot, they didn't get anything that's even worth how much they had to pay for the spot. And I know it's a gamble. Life's a gamble. So we can't, everything's a gamble in life,
Mm-hmm,
but I don't partake in like other parts of the things where they do like the randomize or like the razzes and stuff like that. I
yeah.
don't do that. I don't
Okay.
do final fillers. I don't do that because that is dolloping into a little bit more of a gambling aspect than being just breaking. Because if you went to the hobby store and you bought the box at full price, you're gambling on even pulling a card that you want. So it's all everything is you're not guaranteed anything. Really, you're not. I mean, some
Right.
things are missing out of boxes. So I don't know. I just but I do. I personally just cut people off. I'm just like, hey, take a break. You what if they start getting really aggressive? Like I can tell through DMs,
Hmm.
which it's very easily. I'm like, hey, why don't you take a break? Why don't you step back, take a few days off, calm down, come back to me. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And I do see them in other breaks. And I've asked other breakers in the past. I'm like, hey, how was so and so? And they're all like, they're rude. And I was like, nothing's changed. And
Yeah.
that's a that's a really sad part is when you see people from the beginning when they're who they are, and then they get so addicted to it's anything, um, the thrill, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I have a mix. I have people who collect strictly for their PCs, and then
Hmm.
I've got people who do it just to hit the big cards, and then sometimes they mix back and forth. It's never consistent, but I do, yeah, I've kept my eye on it.
I think that is so, I don't know, for the lack of a better word, like noble of you to do that, because I know many breakers who I doubt I'll have on my podcast with the Meet the Breaker series, but um they just want, it is a bottom line. It's about the money. It's about,
Yep.
I've been on blast texts where people are just like, "Hey, I'm running this, and come get in. Spots are going fast," and that sense of urgency. And it's like, I don't know. So I think promotion is important. I think it's good for people to try to differentiate themselves, but it's too when it's too much. It's just like, I mean,
Yeah.
you can tell. But that's just me. I mean, for someone else, it's like,
Yep.
oh, I needed that reminder. Time to get my fix in. I just got my paycheck last Friday, and it's burning a hole in my pocket or whatever. But um,
Yeah.
what you just said though makes me think of two questions, and I'm gonna just intersperse these. I'm not gonna just do them at the end in case we don't get to
Hmm.
them. But from Instagram, Sports Card Winter Haven, good guy, on he sells on eBay as well. Shout out to him. So the question he had was, when buyers get skunked, like we're just talking about buyers who don't get anything or from a break. So his question is, when buyers get skunked, do you have a stash to help ease their loss, or is it too bad, so sad? That part I put at the end myself.
So, um, that kind of if somebody pays for something and you don't give them anything in return, that is straight up gambling. And
Hmm.
I learned that through talking to my attorney. And so I actually, if you don't get anything, we send you a pack of product instantly. And it's can be in it's any sport. Sometimes I try to do it with the sport that we're breaking. I can't always guarantee that I have loose packs of football laying around, because I don't right now I can't even hold football, like it just
Hmm.
goes so quickly.
Yeah.
um but if you skunk out, we make it right. And if there's something wrong, and this is another part of me, if there's something wrong with the box, if we're missing an auto, if we're missing two autos, which has happened when there's supposed to be two autos, I personally will take care of that box situation on my own time, but I will pull in another hobby box. And that then becomes part of the break. Because the thing is you are buying something, and I will deal with the hassle and bustle of whatever comes of it, if anything ever does, but I will take the loss and provide something that at least they can have something. So I don't allow anybody to walk away. You and your mind might be upset, but I don't allow you to walk away without having a pack of product, or incorporating more product if I don't like how the break went. And
Mm.
it's all how I feel. It's not, it's, and I'm such a, I care a lot.
Hmm.
And I don't care about if people like me or not. I care about that people are getting what they deserve, and they're getting taken care of, and they're getting a service that they enjoy. And so yeah, I always take care of it. Even if it's a $5 team and you hit nothing, you're gonna get a hobby pack sealed. and that's how it is. That's just who I am. I've been doing that aspect of it, I think, for 3 years now. So
This next question, I think, has already in a way been answered by the way you're giving these, responses. I I already knew you from a while back, and so I'm so glad we're finally recording on a podcast as opposed to just kind of like DMing or,
right.
in comment section of posts. But like, I it makes me wonder how many breakers are like you, right? I mean, it's like you have the corporate, the backyard, the big boy breakers that it is just money, it seems like, and then you have these independent smaller breakers who don't have any allocation distribution, who have to find the hobby boxes and have to just they do the shipping and packing and sleeving all within by themselves or with a significant other. And I don't know, it just seems like it's a difference. And please don't take this the wrong way, but like, if breaking is like in a way serving a meal, it's like the big breakers, it can maybe tend to seem like it's like a franchise chain restaurant, and then
Mhm.
for y'all, it's kind of like a mom and pop, hole in the wall, or just kind of like a smaller restaurant. And apologies if you take any offense to the way I said that.
You can't offend me. So
All right, here we go. I'm gonna start. No.
try.
So the question I had from Quim Cards, who's a memer on Instagram, who I I really like his stuff. I just don't know why he's not getting more traction. But Quim Cards, good Instagram follow. Why his question is, and again, I think you've answered already, but just to ask it, why should folks choose you to break with? Like, what is the differentiator with you?
Because I care about you as a person. I mean, bottom line, it's more of an experience you're gonna have. You're gonna most of the time. Now, right now, it is sometimes just me breaking, and not having my sidekick next to me. But we are a package deal. People come in for the comedy and just the laughter because we really, E and I do bicker back and forth. We will make you laugh. You will have a good time. You will enjoy it. Um, I like I said, right now I am behind on shipping, and I will take 110% responsibility on that. Just with everything going on in my life,
Mhm.
I'm actually once we get done with this, I'm shipping. I think I got like 100 packs already done. I've got 25 more to go. Um, but it's like there's attention in detail. We top load and sleeve more cards than I think most breakers do. We send you everything. I don't care if you say you don't want base. Well, actually, I will keep your base if you don't want them because I just give them to the kids at our shows. I can't even
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
But there's there's heart put into everything. And it's not when you DM me, you're gonna talk to me. I will respond to you. I'm not gonna leave you hanging. Um, I used to back in the day when I first started, when I was only doing like 15 or 20 packs, shipping. Um, I would send a picture of everybody's tracking. Nowadays, I'm doing 150 plus, just
Hmm.
today, which each one weighs about 10 pounds each. So
Oh, wow.
that's what happens when you do top series one. Um, and I just went and ordered another case that just got here too. So I don't know what I'm doing, um, but it's just like you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy it from the time you select a team
Hmm.
to the time you receive your package.
Hmm.
Also, I've been kind of slacking on this too. I owe a lot of people these, but I'm partnered with or not partnered. Oh, I guess I'm collabed with Gary V as well.
Hmm.
So I have mini V friends that I send in every pack. I just like I said, I didn't do it this time. I don't think I've done it the last couple times just because I've been trying to get things out in time. But every team you take, you get one. So
Hmm.
it's a little thing for you to have for yourself or to give to your kids.
Hmm.
Um, but I make sure you're taken care of. And that's
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing. I don't your money, yes, obviously you have to pay for the product. But I always work with people. I
Hmm.
don't I don't I don't want it to be a set amount. I don't want it to be, this is how much you have to make. This is how much you have to do. I don't want that added stress in my life. So I do it on my own terms. And I actually break down all my breaks myself. I take the time. I go through the checklists. I look at the rookie class. I do all that myself. And so it's not like I click a button and it's done for me like on other platforms. It's I have to take that time. And I love it. I love all that. That's the fun for me. And
Hmm.
doing inventory is fun for me. He thinks I'm
Hmm.
crazy. But I enjoy it. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
And you'll definitely know that you matter.
Hmm.
You're not just another number. You're not just another dollar sign in our breaks. You matter, and we want you in our lobby. If you're not going to join our breaks, that's fine. But we'd love to have you in our lobby, chatting with us, and just hanging out. And I will kick people out of my life if they're rude to myself or anybody else in my life. It's just
Hmm.
there's no warning. One time you do it, you're gone
Hmm.
and blocked. So.
Gotcha. So I think that's a good. So I didn't know about the Gary V thing. So
Mhm.
I mean I could go down that rabbit hole. I don't know how much. Like when did you partner with that? But then I do have a follow up question about the looking at the checklist and
mm,
all that.
September, October.
Okay. So
Yeah,
is
so
this like
actually
from?
what we have is we have vending machines with him.
Mm,
Um and so we bought vending machines. They're out in the valley. And then I have one personally for my office, and that is where I'm giving out the mini V friends from. So it's been a lot of fun. I actually totally enjoy it, and I know people have their opinions on Gary Vee, and that's fine. Have your opinions. I don't. I do what I like, and
yeah.
so I think that's what people need to realize. Like, don't do what everybody's doing. Do what makes you happy, makes you excited, not
Hmm.
just because everybody else is doing it.
Absolutely. So you've mentioned the valley a couple of times. I apologize. I really don't know. I think I know what you're talking about, but when you say the valley, what does that mean?
So where we live, we actually are surrounded completely by mountains.
Okay.
And so it's called the Valley. Like all of Kalispell, all the way down to I think Polson, so about an hour and a half south. Um, that's all encompasses the valley. It's just
It's all in Montana.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So so maybe it's not what I thought. It's not. It's nothing close to Death Valley or California. I don't. I'm so sorry. I don't know if I can even pick out Montana on a map, and I feel so like East Coast, so much East Coast bias when I say that. But
Well, when you said Midwest earlier, we're definitely not
Midwest.
Midwest.
What is it called?
We're
Pacific.
we're north.
The
We
North.
are literally like we border Canada. So
So
like I mean, we're the northest part.
it's like in Game of Thrones, like the North. We the North. No, we the North is Toronto Raptors. Sorry, but so it's just called the North.
Well, I mean, it's just the north.
The North.
I
Okay.
I mean, when I lived in Oregon, it was the Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
Pacific. Yeah, yeah. PNW.
So it's like you're just going in a little bit more
E.
inland,
Okay.
and then it's north.
Pacific North. So you lose the Pacific because you're not in the
Mhm.
Pacific. You lose the West because it's not the West, it's more East. So you're
But it's
left with
north.
North. So Pacific Northwest turns into the North.
Hmm.
Okay, well I learned something. Thank you. So these vending machines oh, did you get to meet Gary Vee at the National last year?
I've met him every year. Yeah,
Oh, every year. Oh, so
yeah.
is this like a thing like you go to VCon or something like that? Is that what it's
I
called?
am going to VCon in
Okay.
August. Yes, in
Okay. All
LA.
right. VCon August. Okay. Yes, he's very polarizing. He gets a lot of hate, but I have no problems with, I met him in the national. I don't buy V cards and all that, but I don't know. It's just like people who hate on people who are trying to be positive or fun, like again, like the hate with Jeff Wilson and all that stuff. I just don't get it. I mean, I'm just, again, collect what
I
you
just
like,
stay
have
out of
fun.
it.
Yeah, you just have fun. Okay, so this question comes from Pancake Analytics. He sent me a lot of good
Mm.
questions. I don't know if I can get to all of them, but when you're talking about looking at the checklist and the rookie class, the question that I want to kind of weave in from him is, how do you stay informed about the sports card market to make informed decisions about which products to feature in group breaks? So, which
Hmm.
websites to use for the rookie classes and the checklist. I know, sorry, just giving you a little more time to think, but I know recently Cardboard Connection kind of went down. The
Hmm.
owner operator, the person was like doing something maybe not good. I don't know, but it was down, and I know that's where I go. So,
That's where I used to go. But I also do like group breaks, I think is another one. That have checklists. But I'm gonna be honest, I just use Beckett.
mm,
Um, I think that go to the horse, like go to the source of where it all starts from,
uh-huh,
and then I break it down myself. I kind of so when I take a checklist, I always keep an eye on the rookie class. And so if it's football, it's like, okay, right now it's CJ, it's Bryce, it's all these people. But you have to remember then what product you're in because Panini they don't sign in, but Tops they do.
hmm
So or Fanatics.
hmm
And so it's just kind of like you have to know the product, which means that you do your research. You literally just read up on it. I literally will read up. I also try to not if I'm gonna do something that only has one or two cards, then I'm doing a case of it. Because there's no way I'm going to be like, oh hey, I want to fill 30 freaking teams, but there's two cards. So somebody's not getting anything. 28
hmm
of you.
yeah,
And and so I'm not like that. I really do my research and I used to break every single product. Another thing is affordability.
hmm
I don't want to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for products like roughly like like the NT, the flawless. I spent when I first started breaking the same product which had a very big rookie class. um I spent like 10,000 or more on flawless and NT, but
yeah,
I got 15 cases of each.
wow,
So that's where it is now. Now you can't even I think you can only get a box
yeah,
right now for that cost. And it's just another thing that has very very little, you know, um cards produced, but also you don't get your money back. And that's another thing is like I don't want people to hang themselves basically trying to pay for these teams and then the card's worth a tenth of what they are. So I've called it. I'm like, nope, not doing that. Nope, not doing that either. Like I make my own decisions, and I think that's why I'm very happy with just being myself and doing my own thing. And I've really it's been only kind of the last few months that I've been very okay with it,
mm.
um, because I don't want to be forced to move big product when my heart's saying no.
Yeah. I mean, with Flawless, you get a briefcase, but the briefcase has a ham and cheese sandwich in it. That's about it.
Pretty much.
So,
I wish. That'd be worth more.
so with you moving so much product, like, do you work with an LCS to get your, like, do you have a distribution allocation, or is it just kind of like aftermarket? How does it
No,
work?
I've got allocations. I have
Good.
multiple distributions that I have
Awesome.
directly.
And you,
I do at times help a local LCS if I need more than what I was allocated or could
hmm
get. Um, I'll go to them on like whatever day, the release day.
hmm So, and you've had to work to get those relationships. I mean, you didn't have allocation from day one. You started from as I
No.
mean, just started from zero, and then you just worked your way up.
Yeah, I actually when I was living in Portland, Beaverton area, I was supporting two local LCSs there who were supporting me in the background as
hmm
well. That helped me grow because I mean that's the only way you're gonna grow is you have to pay market price.
Yeah.
And then at that point you have to be okay to take a loss the first year.
hmm
And that's okay. unless you just go to all of these card events and you sell yourself,
Yeah.
which that's not who I am. I love the community I have. I love the community as a whole, but I love being just me. Like I've said this so many times, I know, and I'm like on repeat, but it's just that's just who I am. It's like that's just what I want. It's like
Yeah.
I don't want to owe anybody anything, I
Yeah.
guess.
Before I get to the next question, you know, I think you and I've talked about it a little bit, but like I was not a breaker for a very long time. Much as I like making content, and you know, I'll be silly and myself on camera or like behind the camera and all that. I actually found that I really like the shipping and handling part of breaking more than like I don't know. I still kind of get nervous about having other people's cards in my hands and like messing it up. Like I open packs weird. I don't want to ding anyone's corners and all this stuff. And I just there's a amount of stress. I think it gets better and easier if you do it more.
Hmm.
But I just didn't like I think and especially like the sitting. Like even right now we're like 50 minutes in and my back is barking at me and I'm like I kind of gotta want to get up and stretch. But
Yeah.
I think I like, and that's why I think I like doing the eBay auction sales. Is I love to just kind of pack things up, you know, just really neatly. It's I don't know what it is about it, but I think finding what you like doing and just being yourself are so important. So you know, thank you for sharing that. Um,
Hmm.
so the follow up question I had comes from Wing King Cards, and I understand that you know you break solely on Instagram, but you know these are the breakers. You did the Breaker Pavilion um, at the National. So his question is, what do you think will be the highest grossing breaker streaming app 5 years from now? So I guess that's 2029. But in a way, the more important question I have, you know, the B part of this question is like, you know, what has gone into your calculus to not go on to say like, you know, not just Whatnot, but you know, there's Loop, there's Drip, there was, you know, like Car Shop Live, but you know, these other venues. You know, what has gone into your calculus to not want to go to those other streaming platforms?
So I have been on Whatnot. I've done
Hmm.
that.
Okay.
And there's nothing against it whatsoever. Um, it's just another place you have to go. And to me, it's like I would rather do YouTube where it would go to all the main hubs. That's kind of how I look at it. Um, Loop, or I think it's Lupe. I don't know if it's Loop, whatever it
I
is.
don't know. Yeah.
Um, just another situation where it's just like you can't be on every single streaming app. You can't. I mean,
Mm,
you can if you don't want to have a life, or if this is 100% your source of income.
mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not. And I have always said that my family will come first. I want to know that I can break on these days or when release days are, and I just I built my foundation from the ground up, and I guess I this might sound selfish, but I don't want to have to make these people who have been with me from day one go
S-
to another app
Switch. Yep.
just to
Mm-hmm.
see me.
Right.
And so I worked with what's the other one? Drip. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't like the fact that they get a portion of your commission,
Mm,
which I understand it has to fuel. Like Drip doesn't just work on its own. You
yeah.
know, it doesn't work off of free money, and I get that, but as a breaker who is breaking just a little bit above their cost
Yeah.
because I want to provide a service that is affordable for people at any level,
Mm-hmm.
taking any bit of the commission that I would make is hard to
Yeah.
say yes to. Um I could see, you know, big ones, you know, doing it. And everybody says I am a big breaker, and you know, I appreciate it and whatnot, but um I don't want to be known as like a corporate breaker, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And that's
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a robot. I don't want to hate what I'm doing. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And I've also made it clear to people on that are followers that the day that I do hate what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
is the day that I will be done because I don't want to be continuing to do something that I hate because it affects my quality and I'm extremely like OC about my QA, and I just I'm good. I think that if I were to do anything, which I like I've said, I have the channel, I just haven't done anything, um, would be YouTube. And it
Mhm.
would that would be it because I don't want to spread myself thin. I don't
Yeah.
want to be doing this. You know, our busiest season starts in actually it starts next month and goes till October. And so like originally when I did this, it was during the winter because I we weren't so busy and it was something to
Mm.
do. And now it's like I have to juggle multiple things and I don't want to be on a platform every night and missing out on my kids. They are my
Gotcha.
number one.
Yeah,
And so I
absolutely.
guess that's kind of where I'm at. I've tried some. I can't commit to them like they
Right.
deserve.
When you say busiest season, you don't mean like with cards and breaking. You mean just like life stuff.
So
It's
I
a
don't
bit
know if you
March.
originally like a couple years ago, the busy season for cards was actually like fall to spring.
Yeah,
Those were
yeah,
the busy times.
yeah.
And then from
Football.
spring and summer, it was always very a lull in new products being
Yes,
sent out.
yes.
Well, now it's everything's so delayed that there's no anything anymore. You don't
Sure.
know. But
Yep.
for us, our busy season is E's agricultural company that he's
Ah.
been owning and operating for multiple years now. Um, it starts in March, and we're moving 45 to 50 truckloads of product every week, and I'm having to do the, invoicing and everything for that. So
Mm,
that's
mm.
that's my that's what our income is. That's not, and then our other stuff too. But that's our main source of income, and so that gets my attention
Mhm.
March through October. And actually this year we went into November. But um it's just and that's an all year we're busy, but that is our
Yeah.
big season. And so that's when I say season, that's our busy season for his company as well as our vending machine company that we own and operate too, because people come to Montana during the summer and so they use our vending machines.
That's so cool. All right. All right. So, thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
If I may kind of help answer this question from my opinion, about the highest grossing breaker streaming app. So we didn't even talk about TikTok, and that's its own separate thing. And
Mm,
from a content creation standpoint, I don't really like TikTok too much. It's hard to build community, and it's hard to, I don't know, it's something about it. YouTube again, I would love to do more long form. This podcast, I hope to put up on YouTube as a video, not just the podcast audio part. But if I had to guess, what if the biggest breaking streaming app hasn't even been created, right? I mean, because technology goes by so quick, and what's the next bright shiny object? What's the next new thing? We all think that these new apps are, I mean, at some point they're going to turn into legacy apps, and they're going to be outdated, or they're going to be kind of like left for the next thing. So I think some big players that we haven't even thought about who aren't in streaming. Yes, like YouTube is owned by Meta, or Alphabet or Google and all this stuff. And then what about Amazon? Right, they're such a huge retail behemoth. Is Amazon going to get into? They have Amazon Prime with streaming apps, but when it comes to live selling and streaming, I don't know.
I
Like,
hope not.
I mean, right? I mean, talk about a chain restaurant. I mean, it's that would just be like massive.
I just think having I like so I can't really say this because I we have our hands in multiple cookie jars
Mhm.
when it comes to our businesses. I think having some access to some things is a good thing, but I also think that Amazon doesn't understand sports cards and like that whole aspect of it. I think Fanatics is going to do really well for a while. I really
Mhm.
do. I don't know how long the longevity of it is. I don't know since they just put Android, so now Android users
Right.
can use it.
Right.
Um, I think that it's a great. I think their idea is a great idea. Now, do I think it's long term? I don't know. I think somebody who can incorporate like a card ladder or a Ludux in with a Fanatics
Ooh.
breaking.
Mm,
network could
yeah.
do something like that and collab on that and make something that way, I think that would be more beneficial than just a streaming service.
Almost like immediate comps. It's almost like this, augmented reality or something where you can just immediately identify value propositions.
Mhm. Which,
That's
I mean, I
ooh,
think that we're getting there with just the way technology is.
yeah.
I just don't know how feasible or realistic that is at this point. But I think
Yeah,
we've got all these little pieces everywhere. But I think somebody needs to come together, take all the little pieces, put them together, and
yeah,
make one network. And I know that's what kind of Fanatics is trying to do. And I
yeah.
think that they're doing a really good job on it. I still think that there's still more. Um, they're still missing the mark. And I think a lot of those accounts are missing the mark on what is
I
really needed.
I don't know about other people, but literally just got goosebumps just thinking about that. Just, the next gen of streaming just kind of, like, incorporating other elements. I mean, we already
Mhm.
see, like, Fanatics with the vertical integration of, like, the marketplace and this and, and the streaming breaking. And, I know that the next domino has to be falling, which is grading. I mean, they're gonna have to buy up a grading company, and I don't
They
have any
already
insight.
did, I thought.
Oh, who? Really?
I thought they were already incorporated with somebody. I can't remember.
Oh, man.
Is it?
Breaking news.
Hmm. I don't know.
No?
I thought
Okay.
I've heard it. I've heard it around town that they have a grading company. They have an auction house. They have obviously tops and
Card
whatever else
production,
they're gonna go
yeah,
for.
yeah.
So
Wow, okay, well, I'm gonna I'm gonna go look it up because if I'm behind the times or if I'm behind the, 8 ball, it's as a person who's just always on social media, like, that's bad for me to not know, but that's fantastic. I mean, that's, yeah, very interesting if that's the case. Well, I did say I was gonna try and keep it under an hour. We're a little bit over. I feel
okay.
like we covered so much. I mean, more than I thought. I mean, again, the show promotion stuff, the kind of like sharing so much about your past, and the V friend stuff, and everything just was such an added bonus. So
Mm,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, so to end, people can find you again Instagram. I'll put it in the podcast description. It's Mrs. Squirts underscore cards. Um, really solely Instagram, maybe YouTube down the road.
Maybe.
Maybe. I wish nothing but the best for you, not just with breaking, but with the things going on with your family, and just hope everyone is okay, and just I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do
Of
this. I
course.
missed all of that going on because yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, but I kind of delayed I could have delayed a week or two, but you being on right now and sharing the human side of a breaker was just so fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna end it now and stay on. I just want to say a couple of things to you off camera, and then I'm gonna publish this later this week, I think.
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right. Okay. Thanks, Sarah.
Mhm.